guys, long time no see. I know I was supposed to have a video out every week, but school happened to both me and my sister. I am drowning in work because I'm trying to graduate in 4 years versus 4.5, and what can you do? Before I start talking though, special shout out to my sister who is still filming despite being sick. Way to go. Today I want to talk about Taming of the Shrew. I was going to do a Shakespeare summary, but we're all super busy. We have a new puppy in the house, so we're all kind of exhausted. And my sister being sick, I didn't want to make a ton of tiny little videos and have her edit them, because she does that too. I do nothing except talk and you guys listen. So it's basically her show. Anyway, so Taming of the Shrew is, God, Shakespeare, why? Is all I can say. I love Shakespeare, I do, but he has his faults. He's written some terrible characters that I've just hated. Petruchio being one of them. And, you know, he's written good guys, Henry V, bad guys, Petruchio. I guess Romeo can fall into either category, depending on who you like. He's written good women, Viola from Twelfth Night, super strong, I love her. And then he's written women who end up not being so great after all, like Kate. Taming of the Shrew, if you haven't, read it, you've probably watched 10 Things I Hate About You, which is the same thing, but a lot better because it's not as abusive. Long story short, Petruchio marries Kate and tries to tame her. Kate is extremely loud, she's super tough, she's opinionated, does what she wants, but that is not what a good woman's supposed to be, so Petruchio takes on the big manly task of taming the shrew. You can see why that's a problem. So, there are two ways to look at this play. Completely anti-feminist, sexist play, sprinkled with a lot of abuse, or a comedy. It was supposed to be a comedy. Shakespeare wanted you to laugh. Too bad I was frowning the entire time I was reading it. I read this play in London before we went to see it at the Globe. My professor was actually quite worried about it because the last group he had taken to London had seen a production of it in Stratford-upon-Avon, and it had been really, really scarring to some students, and some people were calling their parents on the bus, waking them up in California at like 2 a.m. to cry about the production they'd seen. So that was pretty bad, and I was quite worried about the Globe, but not really, because the Globe they're always on top of it. They weren't going to scar me for life, except I had already been kind of scarred for life by the play. Now, Petruchio doesn't necessarily lay a hand on Kate. He never really touches her. There are no stage directions, so we can assume he doesn't touch her, but he does psychologically abuse her. And I had a lot of people in my program being all like, oh, he doesn't really touch her. And I'm like, what the funny thing about abuse is? Psychological abuse is still abuse. It is just as bad as touching her. They are both on equal levels. And every time I'm upset with things Shakespeare does, I try to cover it up with like theories and analysis, and because Shakespeare doesn't give me a lot of information, just words, I can twist them to be whatever I want them to be. You can do that too. That's what's great about Shakespeare. So I thought to myself, is Kate the tamer, or do they bring out the best in each other? And I tried to juggle with these two things. I like the idea that Petruchio and Kate bring out the best in each other. That's not to say that being obedient is better than being tough, but we need to take into account the time period Shakespeare was writing in and what a good woman was considered to be, i.e. not Kate, rather her sister Bianca, who's super obedient and tame. But then I thought, women are pretty smart, so Kate being the tamer is a theory I can bounce off of as well. But then that brings me to the speech at the end. What the hell was happening with that speech at the end? What Shakespeare, why? Oh God, I had been going through the play just like covering everything up and being like, this is actually supposed to be really funny. And then the end, Kate has a really long speech and she's all like, you should obey your husbands, it's the greatest. And I was like, haha, what? Yeah, I didn't know how to deal with that. But then I thought to myself, does Kate know that acting like a perfect wife will shut Petruchio up? Does she think to herself that acting that way is going to give her peace? That's not a good way to think, but it's better for me to think that she's still trying to play a game rather than, assuming that she's been tamed. Now it's really up to you what you want to think, but this play is funny and it has some really good scenes in it, but I just can't read it with the idea in my mind that it's, full of abuse and it's sexist and terrible. Fortunately, I was right about the Globe and they were awesome about it. I really liked Petruchio and I really liked Kate, and near the end, they were a really good couple, and I was really confident that these two characters would live happily ever after in their like little dysfunctional-ish bubble. And then you have productions like the one with Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, which I do not prefer because you can really feel the abuse and she's very weepy. And I think if you want to play Kate and make this play not terrible, you kind of have to make her super tough throughout. But it's up to you. We could just throw Taming of the Shrew in the bin and be like, no, faulty play, done, and never do it again. Or we could change the way it's played. We could make it that, Kate is playing the game. Maybe Petruchio's been tamed after all. But think about it, and if you have any thoughts on it, let me know what you think. I know it's kind of a shaky cover-up for the play, but it's better than just sitting there and hating it. We don't know how it was supposed to be played because, well, it's 2013. So that's it for this week. I will give you guys a full-blown Shakespeare summary of this play. Hopefully it won't be super terrible to sit through because I am going to have to tell it like it is. Thanks, Shakespeare, you're making my life a lot harder. It's getting kind of dark, so I should cut this short because the sun's setting super early now. But I will see you guys in a week. So not next week, the week after, because remember, during school, videos happen every other week. Thank you for watching and sticking around because I've been gone for a while. And I will see you in a bit.